Hi all, this is Dr. S.J. Kala, an Associate Professor at the Research Center of English, Fatima College, Madurai, Tamil Nadu. Now we are going to have a look at Alexander Pope's Ode on Solitude. Pope is a noted satirist and a popular poet. The physical structure of this poem needs to be looked at. Why? Because when we appreciate something, we always look at its outward appearance. So here we look at the physical appearance of this particular poem and we find that the poem is divided into 5 stanzas. There are 4 lines in each of these stanzas and it has a rhyme scheme of A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D and so on. So the first stanza goes this way. Pope says, "Happy the man whose wish and care a few paternal acres bound, content to breathe his native air in his own ground." So it's a kind of a statement that Pope makes at the beginning of the poem. He talks about a happy man. He says, a happy man is one who has his wish and care limited to a few acres of land. And that to what sort of a land? A land or acres of land which are paternal acres. So the word paternal, we should always understand that the poets have a criteria in their choice of words. So here, why does he use the word paternal? What does he mean by it? So he says a few paternal acres of land. So paternal, we understand that probably the poet has inherited this land or this piece of land, this acre of land or acres of land from his father. So that's what it means. So a few paternal acres bound. So a man who has his wishes, his desires, his care and concern restricted to a few paternal acres of land is very happy, says Pope. He also says a man who breathes his own native air. Native air, it's a kind of a transferred epithet. So a person who breathes the air of his own native land is contented. He is contented. And why is he satisfied? Contented means satisfied. Why is he satisfied? He is satisfied because he is in his own ground. So content to breathe his native air where? In his own ground. So a person who is in his own place, in his own native land, is more happy, more satisfied, more contented than a man who goes out to an alien land looking for job, looking for newer prospects. Okay? So now the second stanza goes this way. He says, whose herds with milk, whose fields with bread, whose trees in summer yield him shade, in winter fire. So he's saying, he goes on to the next step of explanation or justification of who is a happy man. He says, a man who has lots of cattle and that cattle are milking cattle. So he says a man who has cattle or herds that will supply him with milk, a man who has long fields or large fields that will supply him with bread, and a man who has flocks of sheep that will supply him with his attire. So we all know that we get wool or woolen clothes from the sheep. Okay, so a man who gets milk from his own herds, so a man who gets bread from his own fields, a man who gets his own dress from his own flocks, and whose trees in summer yield him shade. So just visualize this picture. a beautiful place, okay, a serene place, where you have his herds flocking around, and these herds are so healthy that they give him good supply of milk. Then on the one side, visualize the fields that are ripe, that have ripened crops. These crops are harvested, and very soon they are converted into the desired flour, so that bread could be made out of them. And on the other side, at one side of the field or one side of his farmhouse, you find lots of sheep, flocks of sheep. And these sheep, imagine how they are, all woolly, okay, there are lots of hair on their skins, and though they are so thick that he can make anything out of it, his own dress. And then when it's summer, you find that there is a vast tree which can provide shade to a larger area. And so he says the man is happy if he gets everything at his own reach, everything at his own leisure. And then he's saying, if a tree can provide him shade in summer, he says the same tree can provide him woods for fire in winter. So, this particular stanza talks to us about being self-sufficient. Okay, or these days we talk about farm fresh fruits, farm fresh vegetables, organic fruits, and all that stuff. So this is more to do with all that. It goes beyond that organic vegetables, organic produce. It talks about self-sufficiency. So a man who is self-sufficient is always happy. Then he goes to the next extent of saying, blessed who can unconcernedly find hours, days, and years slide soft away in health of body, peace of mind, quiet by day. So naturally, a man who is self-sufficient, who is not too greedy, who is not governed by avarice, okay, who is not earning excuse me, who is not earning for more things, yearning, earning for more things. He is naturally a self-contented man, a self-satisfied man. So a satisfied man is a blessed man, because he can find his minutes, each minute of a day, each moment of a day, each hour of a day, passing on into day hours, then the hours passing on into days, and the days rolling on into months, and the months rolling into years. And all of these will go away very softly. It will glide softly, or rather slide softly. Sir, alliteration, you find it there. Okay, a kind of a poetic device. Okay, it will slide softly. And when things go on smoothly, when things go on in a very hassle-free manner, there's naturally nothing to worry about. There's no stress. So what would happen? There would be peace of mind. There would be the person would experience good health, so he will have a healthy body, and he will experience quietness all through the day. Now coming on to the next stanza, he says, sound sleep by night, study and ease, together mixed, sweet recreation and innocence, which most does please with meditation. So he's saying, when a man is blessed with good health, peace of mind, and all that he desires for, what more can he ask in the night? He will have a sound sleep. Have you watched the laborers? They work hard. All through the day they work hard. They toil hard. But then when they sleep, they have a sound sleep. Unlike many of us who hardly work during the daytime. And what do? We spend most of the time before the TV, before the PlayStations, before any gamings, and then we are engaged in a very stressful manner that we hardly get sleep. But he's saying, blessed is the man who is able to sleep so well by night. Before sleeping, he just reads something. Do we do that? That's a question for us to ponder these days. To study, and how does he study? He studies it with ease. And then he's saying together, and before sleeping, he even goes in for recreation. So he relaxes. And when he relaxes, when he doesn't think about anything, because throughout the day he is engaged in work. And there is this popular adage or proverb that says, an idle man's mind is a devil's workshop. So he's not an idle man, he is a busy man, he's a hardworking man. So this hardworking man hardly has any time to think over anything. And therefore, what happens? His mind is not a devil's workshop, but it is the angel's playground. I say that. Okay. So why is so? Because he's so innocent, and therefore he's innocent and he's able to meditate very peacefully, reflect over what has happened all through the day, get into some kind of a recreation, and then sleep peacefully at night. The last stanza, the fifth one, is a kind of a concluding one. How do I say that? The very word with which it begins, it says thus. So now he says, thus let me live, unseen, unknown, thus unlamented let me die, steal from the world, and not a stone tell where I lie. So this ode on a solitude, he doesn't say loneliness, solitude, being alone, okay, is he talks about what sort of a man is a happy man, and how should he be self-sufficient, what makes him blessed, what makes him sleep well at night. So all these are the four stanzas. Now coming on to the last one. So as long as I live, I've been living in such a pattern that I've been peaceful. But now when I die, how do I die? So he's saying, when I live, how do I want to live? I want to live unseen, unnoticed. I don't want any popularity. I don't want any fame. I don't want people to be flocking around me. I don't go for cheap pleasures. I don't go for cheap popularity. So I want to be unseen. I want to be unknown. Okay, so while I live, I want to be unseen and unknown. So I don't want anybody to see me, and I don't want anybody to know about me. I don't have that craving, because in this present world, when in the world of social media, everything is self-oriented. The status that we update, the Insta reels that we post, and all the information that we give are about us. Why do we do that? We do that so that others see us. We do that so that others get to know about what we are, who we are, where we go, what we do, what we like, what we don't like. But just let's pause for a while. Why should we do that? Why should others know what we are doing? Why should others be bothered about what we ate today? Isn't it a little too much? Probably Pope had foreseen this pathetic scenario at least 2 centuries ago, and so he's saying, let me live unseen and unknown, because that is what is a peaceful life. Let me not be bothered about others. Let me live for my own self. So when I live for my own self, I will not be bothered about who is going to mourn my loss when I die. So let me die without anyone lamenting at my death. Okay? And then he's saying, quietly, let me go away from this world, as if I would steal myself away from this world. And then he's saying, let not there be a stone. So tell me where I lie. That is to say, he's very, very specific about not to have a tomb of his own, not to have a tombstone for him, and not to have an epitaph. So he says, ultimately, he wants to just say that a man who is not bothered about others is a very happy man, and he's a blessed man, and he will be so not just in his life, but even after his death. I hope you understood. Thank you so much for your patient listening.